Excuse me? Where is that? Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever applies to you. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Julia. I'm a contemporary singing specialist based in Australia, and today I am going to be reacting to NIGHTWISH performing The Greatest Show on Earth. This one was the overwhelming winner from my 30K community post, which was where you guys basically get to tell me what you'd like me to react to for the week. So if you're a new subscriber, welcome. If you're an old subscriber or a continuing subscriber, thank you so much for hanging around. I really do deeply appreciate the support. And this is the number one winner from that poll. Overwhelmingly, by far, the unquestionable winner of what you guys wanted to see this week. So I've saved this one for last because it's a big one. It's a 20-minute performance. So let's do this. So mysterious. Ooh. Nice use of strings and the solo string. That was awesome. Cool. Their use of more traditional sounding instruments it really adds to like the mystical quality of all of this. I know this is meant to be about like the Big Bang and like evolution and stuff, but it also sounds a bit like witchcraft.
After sleeping through 100 million centuries, we have finally opened our eyes on a sumptuous planet, sparkling with color, bountiful with life. Within decades, we must close our eyes again. Isn't it a noble and enlightened way of spending our brief time in the sun? To work at understanding the universe and how we have come to wake up in it.
First pause, we'll go back to keep the momentum going, but dang. Okay, so already the vocal elements that have been demonstrated have quite a bit of variety to them. So in the opening, Flor was definitely drawing on the classical training that she has investigated and decided to use depending on the style and whether it's required, I suppose. We got to hear those beautiful soaring, long classical sounding phrases in the beginning. Another thing that I'm going to go back and have a look at later is how good her breath drop was. So you can call it drop, you can call it splat, but it's a particular style of breathing which basically allows the diaphragm to fully distend. And when you drop quickly, it's quick. It's meant to be this very fast drop, and then it re-engages, and she does it beautifully as she did in Ghost Love Score. But we're going to go back and have a look at that later. Vocally, we've already got so much variety. That classical in the beginning into the speaking elements. So her being able to create this feeling of storytelling and a spoken word feel throughout when she was describing things. I don't remember the lyrics. They're amazing, but I don't remember all of them. And I found it interesting that she went straight from that into like the really, really metallic belting quality. And then you've got Marco underneath her who's singing with a pretty straight, clean tone, which is completely different to what I heard from him in Poet, which is obviously that really rough, gritty sound because it was suitable for the story. So for both of them, their voices work really, really well together because they both have that metallic quality to the sound, and obviously male-female voice. It's easier to balance a male and a female voice one over the other and for it to sound like a cohesive sound. Regardless, this is amazing, and I'm gonna keep something in mind. I'll let you know at the end if it still keeps happening, but yeah, there's something to do with a musical theme that keeps reoccurring that I will mention if it stays relevant. Are they twins?
Channels welcoming the outside world to the stuff of stars. Bending the tree of a biological holy enter live the tapestry of chemistry. There's a writing in the garden leading us to the mother of all. We are one, we are universe. Forms of what will be, science of the Devonian sea. Alien stars right at the time of our soul. Day to day, new opening for the greatest show.
Okay. I just want to check where she's belting up to there.
We are one, we are alien stars right at
She's doing a really bright metallic mixed belt from an F5 down to an E5. Are you kidding me? Floor. Okay. We're just going to keep going. I suspected. And now it's confirmed. Okay.
the time of our soul. Day to day, new opening for the greatest show. We are here to care for the garden, the wonder of earth, every form most beautiful. Every form most beautiful. We are one, we are a universe, forebears of what will be, science of the Devonian sea. Alien stars right in the time of our soul. A day to day, new opening for the greatest show.
Again with the visuals and the sound effects. It's simple but effective. Dang. And the atonal strings. Shivers. It's a bit scary. Is that floor?
You found a fantasy to idolatry, to self-destructive weaponry, and turning out of guns deeper than the past, and it's the dread of the hunted. And Terraionia, the cradle of law, the architecture of understanding, the human lust to feel so exceptional to rule the earth. Hunger for shiny rocks, for giant mushroom clouds, the will to know is to be done by. Into history, the grand finale, resurrection. Man is on his time in the soul, and the dreams who understand a single grain of sand. He gave up to poetry, but one day ceased to be. With the last night of the library.
Do you just hear that? Okay. Oh, we'll go back. Oh, cool.
Man, he took his time in the sun, and he dreamed to understand a single grain of sand. He gave birth to poetry, but one day ceased to be. With the last night of slavery. Man, he took his time in the sun, and he dreamed to understand the single grain of sand. He gave birth to poetry, but one day ceased to be. With the last night of slavery. Will you sing with us? We were here.
Excuse me? Where is that? She's up on a G5 after belting bunches of F's and E's every single chorus and just floor. I'm gonna break down this technique in a bit, okay? But we're just gonna finish this first.
We were here. As loud as you can, united, all at once. We were here. Yeah, you saw. We were
So it's like, it's back. The feeling is back. Ah! Okay.
We were here. Jesus.
We are going to die, and that makes us the lucky ones. Most people are never going to die because they're never going to be born. The potential people who could have been here in my place, but who will in fact never see the light of day, outnumber the sand grains of Sahara. Certainly those unborn ghosts include greater poets than Keats, scientists greater than Newton. We know this because the set of possible people allowed by our DNA so massively exceeds the set of actual people. In the teeth of these stupefying odds, it is you and I, in our ordinariness, that are here. We privileged few who won the lottery of birth against all odds. How dare we whine at our inevitable return to that prior state from which the vast majority have never stirred?
Look at that smile. And now it's like nighttime. Wow. Cool. Okay, so sorry if this seems a little bit stagnant and weird, but my camera reached its recording capacity and I didn't want to interrupt it and try and start it again mid-show. So we might have missed a little bit of the ending there, but I did get to see that it was in fact at TAMPERE, and I'm going to comment on how their bows and everything, like what kind of insight that gives you into a performer. I just want to catch the end of the one that has Richard Dawkins in it because I know that that was a secret guest at the end there. So we're just going to quickly watch that.
Thus, from the war of nature, from famine and death, the most exalted object which we are capable of conceiving, namely the production of the higher animals, directly follows. There is grandeur in this view of life, with its several powers originally breathed into a few forms or into one. And that whilst this planet has gone cycling on according to the fixed law of gravity, from so simple a beginning, endless forms most beautiful, and most wonderful have been and are being evolved.
Okay, cool. Lyrical. Okay, I wanted to catch that one. I knew that from the comments that you guys were adamant that I used the TAMPERE version for like the show react, but I was curious about what Mr. Dawkins was going to say at the end there. Regardless, I'm really glad that I did in fact find the TAMPERE version, because when I was looking for one that had lyrics in it, some of the titles and the descriptions under it didn't have TAMPERE written in them, so I was really worried that I didn't have the right version. So it being at the end showing that it was at TAMPERE was a good thing. Someone left a very nice comment saying it's the one with fireworks in it, so I was just avidly looking for a lyric version that had fireworks in it. Regardless, I am going to take a tiny little break, put my thoughts together, and then come back. So I will see you, I guess, in a few seconds if I'm editing this. And I'm back. Hey, okay, so I spent a little bit of time. I actually took some notes to sort of orientate my thoughts, and I've essentially broken it down into a few sections. Because this is such a long song, I really didn't want to interrupt it too much while I was watching it, but I have had a little think about it, and now I'm ready to divulge my thoughts, I guess you could say. So basically, I'm going to break it down into like general overall thoughts on the piece. Then I want to talk about the different variety of vocals. I also want to talk about how Floor creates these things. So if you see me looking down, I'm just staring at my notes. I also want to talk about the arrangement, and then like overall ending and feeling and et cetera, et cetera. So to start with, I thought the themes progressed without being too superfluous. So sometimes when you have performances that use special effects and all that jazz, it can seem a little bit overkill because the performance itself is maybe not as epic as like giant fires and fireworks and stuff on stage. It's just not as epic to meet those kinds of special effects. Like the special effects are there to make it more interesting, as opposed to what happened here, which is, you know, when the fire went off and the fireworks and everything, it was part of the cohesive whole of the story. Like even if those things weren't there, I think it would still have been a pretty freaking epic performance. The visuals, the music, the aesthetic, it all matched. And I really appreciate that, because it meant that the musical and the lyrical stories progressed in a way that was exciting, but also made sense. There was nothing that really leapt out at me and was just like, hi, I don't belong. So I think that is, again, excellent arrangement, as well as whoever worked on their like stage production elements, just to make sure that the pyrotechnics were definitely supporting the story and not just being a exciting distraction. So I thought that was great. So I thought the variety of vocals were absolutely awesome. So Floor spent a lot of time in a contemporary setup in this song, but with different varieties of contemporary sound. So in the beginning, you had this sustained classical aesthetic sound. You had the long vowels and phrases with a neutral larynx and classical mouth shapes. So absolutely stunning, really, really pure sound. Again, sounded really free from her, which is the same feeling that I've gotten from her two previous performances. So singing up there, you know, it doesn't sound like a strain. It just sounds like I'm just doing it. Anyway, so that transitioned, of course, into the speaking phrases. I think I've mentioned previously that speaking phrases can sometimes be the death of performers, because they can underwhelm it. They can remove some of the energy necessary for a speaking phrase to still carry the same weight. That's not the case with this one. I thought that she had fantastic storytelling ability through it, fantastic facial expressions, and her different vocal timbres from the beginning with just a general speaking quality, progressing into the darker, grittier, grungy type of speaking quality. It really helped the story progress. And there was actually a moment where her larynx got really, really low and really, really wide. It sounded deceptively dark, but it's actually just wide. It's just a wide sound. And because the larynx is so low, you get a little bit of this quality to it. So I thought that was cool, that she really, really changed up the type of speaking quality that she used when she was performing the different spoken sections. It really met the music and it really progressed the piece as a whole. That's what I appreciated about it. Excellent, excellent belting and contemporary techniques. I specifically want to talk about how metallic her belt is. So it's a very powerful, energetic sound. And for some people, if they push too hard, too fast with those sounds, it can make them fatigue really, really quickly, which is why I really love the fact that Floor employs more of a mix into her belt. Because she's going so high, to me, it would be a shame if she didn't mix, because, I mean, people sometimes, poo all over mixed belting, but to be honest, when it's done well with different resonant qualities. So hers was super metallic, still kept it really, really exciting. My point is, if you have a second register that is as strong as Floor's, it can feed into that mix and give you a steady, like, sort of foundation to put those different resonant qualities on top of. So if you know that that is going to allow you to manage fatigue and still sound badass, why wouldn't you mix belt? Like, it doesn't make sense to take up so much mass that it sounds like you're shrieking your head off. Her belt still maintains a musical quality because she's not shrieking her head off. And that's why it's just beautiful. So, you know, why not mix? She allows that sort of second register engaging muscle to have a little bit more of a role in the belt. She's not carrying up too much of the mass. So in pedagogy terms, we'd call that CT or TA. So you've got cricothyroid muscle and the thyroarytenoid muscles. The thyroarytenoid muscles, or TA muscles, they make things shorter and fatter. So they are responsible for putting mass into the sound. And then you've got the CT muscle, which is literally just for lengthening those vocal folds, going up in pitch, but they also thin out the folds. So she's just managing that coordination between mass and length and getting thinner really, really well with, you know, solid pharyngeal space and resonance. So it's I love it. I love it. So that brings me to my next point. Like, there's been a few questions about it, and I just thought it could be fun to talk about. So how is she making these sounds? How is she doing this? What is happening? How can she do so many different things and sound amazing? Okay, there are a few things to consider when talking about vocal sound. Let's just start that. You have the vocal folds, you have the pharynx, you have the articulators. Those are just your basic. Let's not delve in too deep. We've just got vocal folds, create the buzz, pharynx resonates the sound, articulators shape the sound, and then under that, you've got the breath powering those vocal folds to create that sound, which then resonates and articulates, and over and over and over again, this process happens. The individual dimensions, you as a person will have different anatomical dimensions than somebody else, which is why we sound different when we speak. It's also why vocalists can sound really, really different, and why some vocalists can sound kind of similar. So your individual dimensions play a huge role in the kind of timbre that you are going to experience from your voice and be able to create with your voice. So just bear that in mind, that the individual itself is a big component. So with Floor, basically, she is just coordinating to the max. She's changing the height of her larynx, the width and constriction of her pharynx, and the interaction of her articulators to create different sounds. So something as simple as raising your tongue and lowering your tongue changes the sound quality and can in fact change the style. Raising the larynx, lowering the larynx can change which kind of style your particular timbre in that moment is going to facilitate, essentially. How your articulators interact, whether your soft palate is raised or lowered, how your jaw is moving. If you've got jaw tension, that's going to influence your sound. Usually not in a good way, but it will influence your sound. How your lips interact, tongue, teeth, all of these things can change the quality of your sound and influence the shape and harmonics of the sound that she's producing. And then we associate certain qualities with different singing styles. So this is all powered with the breath, and that is why if we look back at the beginning, you can see how fast she drops her stomach and then supports under it. I did a little zoom in on this one with the Ghost Love score, but in this one it's also really, really obvious. And the reason you need to do that is because the rate of your breath flow, the consistency of your breath flow, and how steady your support is underneath that sound also influences how easily everything above that, vocal folds, pharynx, articulators, can coordinate together. I know, there's a bit going on. And we're not going to delve into vocal effects because it'll just take so long if I do that. To surmise, she is a master coordinator. That's true. And the fact that this is the last song of their whole performance, are you kidding me? The fact that she still sounds that good and that steady makes her a monster vocalist, not just in sound and performance, but in stamina and endurance. Oh my God. The consistency of your technique and the stamina of your instrument are critical if you are going to be a touring musician. Considering the different kinds of vocal elements and the fact that she does use vocal effects and still sounds that damn good, she knows what she's doing when it comes to managing her vocal load, and she knows what she's capable of, and she makes choices that err on the side of being more enduring, such as the mixed belting that I discussed earlier. So I also just quickly wanted to mention that the arrangement and the lyrics, as usual, were absolutely epic. I liked the traditional sounds interspersed with the modern. It gave it a very mystical feeling. I know it's about, the science of evolution and the Big Bang, but damn if this song does not also feel like witchcraft at the exact same dang time. I also really liked the cute little musical reference, whose name of the piece is escaping me. The da 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 da. That one? I don't know why that just leapt out at me. I was like, cool. That's awesome. And speaking of awesome, the other thing that I really liked is that the main musical idea, which kept reoccurring in the chorus, that was introduced early on. It's the same musical idea as what was being played on that flute/pipe thing. So I think that's super clever when you have a long piece to have a musical theme which is reoccurring to keep people's attention, but is modified and built upon and changed in just tiny ways, whether that's instrumentation, which is what happened between the pipe and then the bag thing. I don't know the names of this stuff. I never ventured down to the classical floor at university, and I never really ventured into traditional instruments. Regardless, I like how that musical theme kept reoccurring, and it did in fact keep reoccurring all throughout that piece, which is great for connectivity as an audience member. It's very easy in long pieces to start to get bored, and the way that it developed, it didn't feel like 20 minutes to me. Overall, the ending really got the tingles in my chest going. I felt my eyes getting wet. I was getting a little bit emotional against my will again. This is what happened in Ghost Love Score. I was just listening and my whole body was just like, So thanks again, Nightwish, for that feeling of making me feel like I don't have control over myself. Overall, I genuinely enjoyed watching this. It really didn't feel like 20 minutes. It was over and I was like, whoa. What? It's like you had to wake up out of it. This brings me to my last point. I thought that they looked so adorable doing their bows. Their interaction with their audience is just it was really heartwarming to see, because the bows, I think, really show whether any ego is in someone's performance type, and I didn't get that at all. That little smile from Marco there, like what a cutie pie. Oh my god. And he's like smiling, he's like, ee. You get what I mean. It's just like they adorably just like, yeah, we did the thing. And it's like, yes, you did. Thank you. Anyways, if you're still here, thanks for hanging around to the end of the video with my non-stop chattery. I'm sorry. Anyways, that is it from me today, guys. It has taken me forever to finish filming this, so I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, click the like button and the subscribe button and the notification bell beside it if you'd like more just like this one. As usual, I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying healthy, and I will see you next time.